So you got the job of your dreams. Everyone loves you and what you make. And you think to yourself, life couldn't get much better than this. And you're right. So instead, it just gets worse. One of your secrets gets let out, and it's no one's fault but your own. Because deep down, you're just a terrible person. You always knew that. You just didn't think people would find out. Well, now they know. So what do? Well, you've come to the right place. My name is Saji Sharma, YouTube's cancellation expert, here to get you back on your feet in no time. Listen, you're not the first one, and this isn't my first rodeo. Plenty of canceled creators have kept their platforms perfectly intact with just a simple apology. Hell, Colleen Ballinger didn't even apologize at first. She made a diss track with her ukulele, and now she's back and kicking it. But I wouldn't take her for example. You have to make people think you care. Make people think you've changed. The older the controversy is, the easier it is to clean up, easier it is to sweep under the rug. See, people think that you have to be perfect to be a content creator, when in reality, we're all shitty. You have to be successful. Audiences just can't accept that, so you have to live up the fantasy a little bit. And hey, it doesn't hurt to donate a little here and there. If you're interested in any of my services, feel free to shoot me an email, and I'll turn your cancellation into a, what do they do again? I don't even remember. Sweet. Yeah, Rohan. Dude, my estimated profits for Q4 are through the roof. Say goodbye to winter and hello to Cancun for the new year. Yeah, we got Dream and Hot Water and now Matt Rife. Keep them piling up. Dude, we will be able to retire at 27 at this rate. What's that? You gotta go talk to James Charles about an apology for his new allegations? All right, man. Bring it home. Hey, this time let's try and stray away from any obvious puff piece articles. That was a shit show. All right, man. Shit. It's not what it looks like, okay? This isn't. It's a bit. I was just doing a bit. It was just a bit. I've made a severe and continuous lapse in my judgment. Cancellation is a very nuanced term. Some people feel it as more of a tangible, realistic scare, where I feel it as more of an urban legend. What people may think is a deranged ghost with a traumatizing past taking innocent souls for revenge, but realistically is just some person dressed up as a ghost with a traumatizing past stabbing themselves. So before we get into the Cancelees, let's talk about what it actually means to be canceled. This may be a hot take, but I just don't think cancellation is a real thing. I think the term has been created to hide the simple fact that either you're a bad person, you've done bad things, or both. A lot of people like to think of cancel culture as a way for audiences to get rid of someone they don't like, when really, you said a slur, and the portion of your audience in which that slur offends is a part of that community, so obviously they're not going to take very kindly to that. If you're a bad role model, you shouldn't have as big of a platform as you do. Now, I will say there is a portion of cancel culture that tends to be harsh and unforgiving, but you're still not the victim here. You're the one that messed up. There seems to be this common victim mentality, and it just kind of goes to show the often privileged and white perspectives of a lot of these content creators and celebrities. Outside of the context of the internet, if you do something that hurts someone, you should feel bad and sorry, because they're the victim. Not shift the blame and say they're a part of the woke mob. People say canceled like it's some one and done thing, like it's an absolute, when really it's just a way of holding people that have platforms accountable. Hell, it's one of the only decisions made as a community in this elitist hellscape that we call the internet. But majority of the time, canceling someone doesn't even really work, because again, to be canceled isn't real. When masses of your audience are young kids that don't understand or adults that just don't care, you can still come back and have your career just fine. Exhibit A, Colleen Ballinger. Colleen created a character named Miranda Sings, who famously could not sing well. But I would argue that Colleen sings worse. With this character, she became one of the most well-known YouTubers, wrote books, did live shows, attended late night shows, and more. This all started to crumble when some former fans came forward. So what was she accused of? Well, it was said that she had inappropriate and sexually explicit relationships with underage fans, sending them inappropriate messages, items, and articles of clothing. She also held inappropriate live shows where she made jokes and did stunts that maybe shouldn't have been in front of the majority of children that attended.
Do you mind cheese ball? I'd love one. I can't believe I'm reaching in there right now.
Exhibit B, Shane Dawson. Shane became famous posting skits that did not age well. He's just really good at being offensive. It's honestly impressive. Shane, along with Colleen, was also one of the bigger YouTubers of that time. Also, like Colleen, garnering a massive audience of children and young teens. There is a list of disturbing things Shane Dawson has done and apologized for on separate occasions, so I'm just gonna list them off. Racist skits, made a really offensive movie, talked about perceiving children in inappropriate ways, and admitted to inappropriately touching a cat. And there's probably more I am fortunately missing.
One time, I laid my cat down on her back.
Are you gonna get arrested for this?
I don't know.
Exhibit C, James Charles. James Charles is desperate.
I'm desperate.
He's a part of a different generation of influencers that really started to pick up in following on TikTok. He's big in the makeup scene, very big, as you'll see soon. He also loves to sing, but unlike Miranda, he gets made into a joke because of it, unironically.
Sis, you been on, Bentley tints on, Fendi prints on, Ayoa Ben North, Laura Bancroft, plate say Chung Lee, drop the Benz off.
James is a social butterfly, but unfortunately, that is his downfall. You see, you have to give yourself a line, and it seems he can only do that with his makeup. Multiple minors have come forward stating that James was very forward and sexually explicit with them via Snapchat. Now, what do all three of these content creators have in common? Well, they've all apologized and are now back, and their careers are still thriving. But Saji, they've apologized. It's clear they've learned from their mistake. Shane Dawson had sex with his cat. I'm sorry, but there's no coming back from that. And there's a bigger issue at hand with creators and lack of accountability. We, as a community, try our best, we really do. But some people don't deserve a platform, period. But it's so easy to taint your persona and trick people. There's also just a lack of people that really care. Hey, happens to me sometimes. Now, all three of these creators I mentioned had some form of an apology, but we didn't get any proof that they've grown or changed at all. There was no reaching out to victims. Instead, all we got was an apology disguised as a fall vlog.
I just wanted to come on here and say that I'm sorry, and I'm going to try to vlog again. And today I'm just gonna film my day and share some simple, happy moments.
And that was after the ukulele incident, which is still up for some reason. I mean, everybody went crazy over this video.
On the toxic gossip train.
This genuinely may be the magnum opus of controversy responses. You singing about misinformation and then not providing evidence really only makes your case worse. Because now, not only is Miranda not the only bad singer, that took me a long time to get and I'm so glad I got it, but she also comes off as smarter than you. How did a character you made to be dumb funny end up looking better than yourself? You even admitted to letting your ego take over in your impromptu fall vlog apology.
I was being accused of some pretty awful things, and I just was mad, and I should have handled that situation with maturity and empathy, but instead I just let my ego take over, and I'm really disappointed in myself.
And then you left up the egotistic response. Sorry, this isn't accountability. This is thinly veiled ignorance. Hey, at least James Charles apologized. Sure, he excused his actions as being desperate, but at least he tried to hold himself accountable for talking to underage boys. What's that? James Charles funded a puff piece written by Cosmopolitan titled, "James Charles would like to be uncanceled, please?" Holy shit, he is desperate. And now he has more allegations of the same issue. Shane Dawson also apologized for everything he did wrong, as well as his previous apologies, because they weren't good. Now forgive me if I'm wrong here, and I could be, but if you're apologizing for your previous apologies, I think you've passed the point of no return here. I don't think you should be redeemed, like at all. Yet all three of these people are still posting and getting millions of views. Colleen is back to posting her vlogs, James is releasing new makeup lines, Shane is profiting off of his controversies, of course. Now, not much can be done about that, and it's clear that the audiences either don't know or don't care. But what if you're a creator in some hot water? Or you just want to know how to avoid all of this? Well, I turn to you. That's right, I'm talking to you, Matt Rife and Dream, who are definitely watching this video. It's no secret that you guys are both in hot water. Now, you both are in different situations, so I would like to address things specifically first. Dream, you have some serious allegations. Inappropriately texting minors is no joke. So let's stop getting angry at random people on the internet because you're only making it worse. You still have yet to show any proof, so why don't you take some time, better your mental health before fighting with Gumball? What can I say? You're an easy target, and the internet loves easy targets. Matt Rife. Matt. I saw your comedy special. Congrats. It wasn't good. Hey, but at least you're pretty. And because of that, you should know that the majority of your audience consists of women. So during your one opportunity to really make a name for yourself as a comedian, Why would you start by dissing women?
I swear to you, man, the biggest issue with Crystal Girls is the fact that it's their entire personality.
I understand that you're a closeted conservative, and that's fine. I understand that you like dark humor, and that's also fine. But you have garnered an audience that doesn't like those things. So coming out doing your Netflix special maybe wasn't the best idea. Now, what do we do if either of these situations gets any worse? If we get any closer to the verge of cancellation? Well, now I want to speak more generally. There's a lot more that creators need to do besides just an apology. All a good apology proves to us is that you're good at using your words. We don't know what amount of what you're saying is genuine, so the only way we'll see is with physical action. Reparations to the community you've harmed, taking a break, educating yourself, showing us that you've educated yourself, talking to people, donating. It's like we're your parents and we caught you sneaking out. So now you're grounded and you have to make a PowerPoint presentation on why what you did was wrong. Because hey, saying sorry just doesn't cut it anymore. You have to have empathy if you're gonna be a creator, because whether you like it or not, people are going to look up to you. If you do something bad and nothing is done, people will think that's okay. Kids will learn that that's okay. And we need to make it a point that it isn't. I hate using this example because I dislike this person, but Logan Paul is a good example of what to do if you mess up. He did something wrong in 2016. He did something really terrible. It was really bad. And he apologized for it. But not only did he apologize for it, he donated to communities. He sat down and talked with suicide survivors and experts. And these interviews are all on YouTube. So this showed us that he took the time to educate himself and his audience. And then after that, he took time before returning. Now, granted, he did some things after that maybe showed that he hadn't really grown. But regardless, I think this is a good example to follow when trying to take accountability for your actions as a creator. God, that was hard. Never thought I'd be praising Logan Paul, but here we are. Cheers. But I think the point of all of this is to say that you're not uncancelable. There's no one that has a following that is uncancelable. Just because you do stand-up comedy doesn't mean you get to be misogynistic and get away with it. If enough people don't like you, brands will refuse to work with you. That's just how capitalism works. And with cancellation, or just holding people accountable, we've kind of found a way to override the system. Sure, there are some flaws and cracks, but I think it's important to try to hold people that have an impact accountable for their actions. Which also means that we need to make the cancel culture environment more prone to rehabilitation, rather than trying to drop someone off the face of the earth. I've always been a very firm believer that people can change. That's why I hate jail, or at least the state of it. And I know that sounds like a pretty drastic segue, but I promise it's not. Just hear me out here. It may be different on a case-to-case basis, but canceling people with the sole purpose of rendering them useless to society isn't unlike imprisoning people so that they can't harm society. Why is that our intention when society is why people make bad decisions? You don't wake up one day and decide to become bad. People should be rehabilitating and learning from their mistakes and not going back to prison. I think it's the same logic for holding creators accountable, besides the whole free prison labor, modern day slavery thing, obviously. Now, it isn't cancel culture's job to rehabilitate a pedophile. That's not what I'm saying. That's jail's job. I'm more so talking about the less serious cases, the cases that aren't a crime. If a child gets famous and they say a slur, I think they should have the opportunity to educate themselves on why what they did was incorrect and why they shouldn't do it anymore. If they become scared and feel threatened that they might lose their career, they're just gonna jump to make an apology to cover their tracks. That isn't helping anyone. It's not helping impressionable children, and it's certainly not helping the person that made the mistake. Just like how we want prisoners to play key roles in society, I think it should be the same way for content creators. Let's make them work a 9 to 5 or something. I don't know, I think Shane Dawson working at a McDonald's might teach them a lesson or two. But just to reiterate and recap, this is more so the fault of the creators. We're not the ones who messed up. I just think we can play a better role in helping hold them accountable. It just so happens that the majority of them are privileged pricks, so that can be a little difficult. But you know how you can do better? By supporting an unproblematic creator like me. The only thing I'm problematic at is being too good at my job, am I right? Subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to my Patreon if you really want to rub me the right way. We're very close to 200K. I'd love to hit it by the end of the year. No pressure or not. I would just be really upset if we didn't. And shout out to my brother's friend. He asked me for a shout out. I didn't get his name, but I hope this is what you wanted, and hope you're doing well. All right.